Forget the big rigs for a minute. The trucks that really ran the 1960s weren't roaring down the interstate. They were rolling down your street. The milkman before sunrise, the bread man at the corner store, the delivery van idling in every driveway. These were the working trucks nobody bragged about and everybody quietly depended on. The humble haulers that kept an entire country fed, stocked, and moving. 10 everyday legends, all from one golden decade. Let's count them down. Number 10. The Dodge Medium Duty. We start with the underdog of the big three. Dodge was always the smallest of Detroit's three truck makers, living in the shadow of Ford and Chevrolet. But out in the real working world, Dodge's medium-duty conventionals quietly earned their keep on farms, on job sites, and in front of small businesses all across America. Through the 1960s, Dodge offered a full line of medium-duty trucks wearing the same handsome swept-line styling as their pickups, just scaled up and toughened for serious loads. These were the trucks fitted out as stake beds, hauling produce and lumber, as dump bodies for local contractors, and as box vans for the corner grocery and the hardware store. If your town had a feed mill, a coal dealer, or a plumbing supply house, odds are a medium-duty Dodge was backed up to the loading dock. Power came from Chrysler's genuinely bulletproof engines, the famous Slant 6 for the lighter jobs, and a range of V8 when a customer needed more muscle to move a heavy load up a grade. Dodge built a reputation on mechanical simplicity and durability. These weren't flashy trucks, and they weren't trying to be. They were honest, easy to fix, and hard to kill. Exactly what a working man wanted when the truck had to earn money every single day. There was a rugged charm to these trucks, too. Dodge leaned into a job-rated philosophy that stretched back decades. The idea that you bought exactly the truck your work required, no more and no less, so you weren't paying for capacity you'd never use. That practical, buy-what-you-need attitude appealed perfectly to the small operators and family businesses who made up the bulk of Dodge's commercial customers. Dodge never dominated the commercial market the way its rivals did, and the company would eventually walk away from the heavy truck business entirely in 1975. But that makes these 1960s medium-duty Dodges all the more worth remembering. They were the dependable, unsung workhorses of Main Street America. The kind of truck that showed up, did the job, and never asked for credit. A perfect way to open a list about the trucks everyone saw but nobody thought twice about. Number 9. The Ford F600 and F700 medium-duty. Next up is the truck that probably delivered your soda, hauled your gravel, and put out your fires. The medium-duty Ford. Everybody knows the Ford F100 and F250 pickups, but climb a few rungs up the F-Series ladder and you reach the F600 and F700, the bigger, harder working members of the family that formed the backbone of local commerce in the 60s. Ford was smart about these trucks. Early in the decade, the company gave its larger, medium, and heavy-duty models their own distinct front-end styling, a bold central grille that set the working trucks apart from the pickups. So a loaded F700 looked every bit as serious as the job it was doing. Underneath, they were built to take punishment, with heavier frames, bigger axles, and beefier brakes than any light-duty truck. And the range of jobs they did was staggering. An F600 or F700 might roll out of the factory as a stake truck for a produce hauler, a box van for a furniture store, a dump truck for a paving crew, a tank truck for a fuel dealer, or a beverage bay body for the local bottler. Countless small-town fire departments bought bare F-Series chassis and had them built up into pumpers. If a job needed something bigger than a pickup but smaller than a semi, this was America's default answer. Buyers could choose from Ford's dependable inline-6 engines for lighter duty, or step up to V8 power, and by the mid-1960s, diesel options were reaching down into the bigger medium-duty models for operators who ran high miles. Whatever the configuration, these trucks were absolutely everywhere, so common that most people barely registered them as anything special. That's exactly why the medium-duty Ford belongs on this list. It wasn't glamorous, but it was the truck that quietly kept the shelves stocked and the town running. For millions of Americans in the 1960s, a work truck and a Ford meant the same thing. Number 8. The Chevrolet C60 and GMC medium duty. If Ford owned Main Street, then out on the back roads and in the barnyards, this was the king, the medium-duty Chevrolet and its GMC twin. When you picture an old grain truck sitting in a farm field, its bed tilted up and the last of the wheat sliding out the back, you're almost certainly picturing a Chevy C60. General Motors gave its trucks a clean, modern redesign at the start of the decade, and the medium-duty C50 and C60 models, sold in nearly identical form under both the Chevrolet and GMC badges, became the definitive farm and town truck of the era. Their tough conventional cab, forward-tilting hood for easy engine access, and no-nonsense styling made them instantly familiar from coast to coast. Farmers loved them, and that's putting it mildly. Fit a C60 with a tall grain body and a hydraulic hoist, and you had the essential harvest hauling machine of the American heartland. But the story didn't stop at the farm gate. These trucks worked as dump trucks for county road crews, as stake beds for lumber yards, as flatbeds for equipment dealers, and as box trucks for every kind of delivery. Municipalities ran them, contractors ran them, and small businesses ran them into the ground and then bought another one. Power was classic Chevrolet, a range of dependable straight sixes for everyday work, with V8 options for heavier hauling. Nothing exotic, just proven, repairable, honest engineering that a farmer could keep running with basic tools in the shed. The medium-duty Chevy and GMC succeeded for the simplest of reasons. They did everything a working person needed. They lasted, and they were affordable. They were so deeply woven into rural and small-town life that they became almost invisible through sheer familiarity. And that's the whole point of this list. These were the trucks that were always there, quietly doing the heavy lifting of ordinary American life. Number 7. The Dodge A100. Now we shift from the big medium-duty haulers to the little vans that buzzed around every neighborhood. Starting with Chrysler's clever contender, the Dodge A100. Launched in 1964, the A100 was Dodge's answer to a booming new market for compact, space-efficient delivery vans, and it quickly became a familiar sight parked outside shops, job sites, and apartment buildings everywhere. The A100 was a true forward control design, a cab-over layout where the driver sat right up at the very front, ahead of the wheels, with a short, stubby nose. That packaging trick meant that a van barely longer than a family sedan could swallow a huge, boxy cargo area. Chrysler tucked the engine into a doghouse between and behind the front seats and used unibody construction to keep things tight and light. Under that doghouse sat one of Chrysler's greatest hits, the legendary Slant 6, an engine so reliable it became the stuff of mechanic folklore. For customers who wanted more punch, Dodge added V8 power starting in 1965, and that's where the A100 earned a slice of pop culture fame. Drag racer Bill Maverick Golden turned an A100 pickup into the wheel-standing Little Red Wagon exhibition truck, famous for roaring down the strip with its front wheels pointed at the sky. But in daily life, the R100 was pure blue-collar utility. It was the plumber's van, the florist's van, the electrician's van, the small parts courier's van. In Canada, it was even sold under the Fargo name. Tradespeople loved how much they could stuff inside something so easy to park and maneuver through tight city streets. The On100 went head-to-head with rivals from Ford, Chevrolet, and Volkswagen, and while it never topped the sales charts, it earned a devoted following that survives to this day. It represents a whole new kind of 1960s working truck, small, smart, and endlessly practical. The compact van that helped a generation of independent tradesmen get the job done. Number 6. The Volkswagen Type 2 Transporter. Here's the one that started it all, and the only foreigner on our list. The Volkswagen Type 2, known as the Transporter, the bus or the microbus, rolled over from Germany and quietly rewrote the rules for what a small working vehicle could be. Long before it became a symbol of the counterculture, the VW bus was, first and foremost, a delivery truck. The layout was pure Volkswagen. A small, air-cooled engine hung out over the rear wheels, leaving a big, flat cargo box up front for the driver and the load. It came in every practical flavor you could want. A windowless panel van for delivering goods, the combi and microbus for people, and even a single and double cab pickup. Small businesses across America snapped them up as flower vans, bakery vans, and repair trucks, drawn by their thriftiness, their durability, and their knack for squeezing into any parking spot. The VW was so successful at this that it essentially forced Detroit to react. When Ford built the Econoline, when Chevrolet built the Corvair van, and when Dodge built the A100, they were all chasing the little German van that had shown America there was a hungry market for compact forward-control haulers. That's a remarkable legacy for one humble vehicle. The early split-window buses gave way to a larger bay-window model for 1968, but the working formula never changed. There was one hiccup. In 1964, a trade dispute led the U.S. to slap a 25% tariff, the famous chicken tax, on imported light trucks, which effectively ended sales of the VW pickup versions in America. The vans, though, kept coming and kept working. Part of the magic was how approachable it was. A Beetle owner could service a bus with the same basic tools and the same simple air-cooled engine, and mechanics everywhere knew how to keep them running. That ease of ownership meant a one-person shop could afford to put a van on the road and keep it there for years, precisely the kind of low-overhead workhorse a small business needed. You saw the VW bus doing deliveries in every city and small town in the country, right alongside the surfers and the free spirits. It was cheap to run, nearly impossible to kill, and friendly enough that people genuinely loved it. As a working truck that touched everyone's life in the 1960s, the little Volkswagen absolutely earns its place. Number 5. The Chevrolet Corvair Greenbrier and Corvan. For a few fascinating years in the early 1960s, Chevrolet built one of the most unusual working vans America has ever seen, and it came from an unlikely place. General Motors took the mechanicals of its rear-engine Corvair compact car and for 1961 spun off a whole line of Corvair 95 trucks, the Greenbrier passenger van, the Corvan cargo van, and a pair of pickups. Like the Volkswagen that inspired it, the Corvair van carried its engine, an air-cooled flat six, out back over the rear wheels. That gave the driver a roomy, unobstructed spot up front and created a low, flat cargo floor that was easy to load. GM engineers were proud of these trucks, and with good reason. With independent suspension at all four corners, they actually handled and rode better than most boxy vans of the day. The most memorable variant was the ramp-side pickup, which had a clever fold-down ramp built into the passenger side of the bed. Roll a heavy cable drum or a mower straight up the ramp and you were loaded. No lifting required. It was such a handy feature that the Bell Telephone Company bought fleets of them for exactly that job, wheeling cable reels on and off with ease. For all its cleverness, though, the Corvair van had a catch. That rear engine forced a raised hump in the back of the load floor, while its arch-rival, the Ford Econoline, offered a completely flat floor from front to back. And it turned out that flat floor was what buyers wanted most. The Econoline outsold it, and General Motors gradually pulled the plug, dropping the cargo and pickup versions after 1964 and building the last Greenbriers, mostly for fleet customers, in 1965. That short life is exactly what makes the Corvair van such a beloved curiosity today. It was bold, it was different, and for a brief moment it was a common working sight on American streets, a fascinating road not taken in the story of the everyday delivery truck. Number 4. The Ford Econoline. If the Corvair was the clever experiment, the Ford Econoline was the runaway champion. Introduced for 1961, the Econoline didn't just compete in the new compact van class, it defined it and set the template that American vans would follow for decades to come. Ford's approach was refreshingly pragmatic. The company borrowed heavily from its economical Falcon compact car for the engine and running gear, then packaged everything into a tidy forward control van with the driver sitting up front over the wheels. Ford placed the engine in a low housing between and just behind the front seats, and that single decision unlocked the Econoline's killer feature, a completely flat cargo floor, running the full length of the van, front to back. For anyone who actually loaded and unloaded a van all day, that flat floor was pure gold. Power was simple and thrifty. An 85 horsepower 6 was standard, with a stronger 101 horsepower 6 on the options list, and a larger 6 arriving later in the run for buyers who wanted more pull. Nobody bought an Econoline for speed. They bought it because it was cheap to run, easy to park, and could haul a genuinely useful load in a vehicle far smaller than a traditional truck. Ford offered it as a windowless cargo van for tradesmen and delivery fleets, as a windowed station bus for hauling people, and as a compact pickup with the driver perched right over the front wheels. bakeries, dry cleaners, telephone crews, appliance repair shops, small couriers, tradesmen of every kind. Everybody found a use for the Econoline, and fleet buyers in particular loved how cheap it was to buy and to keep running. It became the default small delivery van of the decade, so successful that it launched an entire dynasty. When Ford needed more room and V8 power later on, the Econoline name simply grew into the full-size Ford van that would go on to dominate American roads for generations. Practical, affordable, and brilliantly packaged, the first-generation Econoline is the compact working van that got it exactly right. It was on every commercial street in America, and it earned its high spot on this list the honest way. Number 3. The Chevrolet and GMC Step Van. Now we reach the truck you've seen 10,000 times without ever knowing its proper name, the Step Van. Also called the walk-in or multi-stop delivery van. And if you want to understand how important it was, just look at the UPS and FedEx trucks buzzing around your neighborhood today. They are the direct descendants of the 1960s step van. The whole idea was built around one thing: efficiency for a driver who makes dozens or hundreds of stops a day. The step van let the driver stand up and walk straight from the seat into the cargo area, grab the package and step right out a low side door. No ducking, no climbing, no wasted seconds. Multiply that convenience across a full delivery route, and it added up to real money for the businesses that ran them. Chevrolet and GMC offered these walk-in vans on their forward Control P chassis, and outside bodybuilders, most famously Grumman Olson with its lightweight aluminum bodies, turned those chassis into the tall, boxy delivery vans everyone recognizes. The result was tough, roomy, and endlessly adaptable. And oh, the jobs they did. The step van was the bakery route truck and the potato chip route truck. It was the parcel delivery van and the parts delivery van. Dressed up with a freezer and a set of jingling bells, it became the neighborhood ice cream truck that made kids come running. Others served as catering trucks, tool trucks, and mobile workshops. Wherever a business needed to carry a lot of goods and make a lot of stops, the step van was the tool for the job. Chevrolet and GMC weren't alone in this. Ford built walk-in van chassis too, and so did other makers because demand was simply enormous. But the GM step vans were among the most common of all, thanks to that vast dealer network and a chassis that bodybuilders loved to work with. A business could order one sized almost any way it liked, from a compact route van up to a big high-roof box, and specify exactly the shelving and equipment the job demanded. It wasn't pretty, and it wasn't fast, but it was one of the most genuinely useful vehicles ever built. A rolling storefront and warehouse rolled into one. The Chevrolet and GMC step vans of the 1960s were the workhorses that put goods directly into the hands of ordinary people, one doorstep at a time. That's about as common to everyone as a truck can get. Number 2. The International Harvester Metro Van. At number 2, we honor the truck that brought fresh bread to your door. The International Harvester Metro Van. For decades, this rounded, friendly-faced delivery van was as much a part of the American morning as the newspaper on the porch, and it holds a special place in the hearts of anyone who grew up before the age of the supermarket. The Metro was one of the earliest mass-produced forward-control delivery vans, and it had a genuine touch of class in its DNA. Its distinctive styling came from Raymond Loewy, one of the most famous industrial designers of the 20th century, the same man behind iconic Studebakers and the classic Coca-Cola bottle shape. The bodies were originally crafted by the Metropolitan Body Company of Bridgeport, Connecticut, a firm International later bought outright. Like the Divco milk truck, the Metro was built for the multi-stop grind, letting the driver stand or sit and hop in and out quickly at every house and shop. And it delivered just about everything you can imagine. Bakeries used fleets of Metros to bring bread and pastries straight to homes and corner stores. Dairies used them for milk. Laundries picked up and dropped off with them. They also served as ambulances, as bookmobiles bringing library books to rural towns, and as mobile offices and radio units. International kept the Metro in production from 1938 all the way to 1975, tweaking it over the years but keeping the core formula that worked so well. In 1959, the company even added a smaller sibling, the Metromite, cheekily advertised as America's biggest little delivery truck to take on the compact imports. The Metro was practical, charming, and absolutely everywhere. A fixture of daily life for millions of families. When people wax nostalgic about the days when goods came to your door instead of you driving to a big box store, the International Metro is very often the truck they're picturing. Only one working truck of the era is more beloved, and it's our number one. Number one, the Divco milk truck. And there was only ever going to be one truck at the top of a list like this. The Divco milk truck is the ultimate common to everyone vehicle of the 20th century. The snub-nosed little van that brought milk to the doorsteps of millions of American homes, and the truck that virtually everyone who lived through the era remembers with a smile. The name Divco came from the Detroit Industrial Vehicle Company, and its masterpiece was the Model U, introduced back in 1938 and built remarkably all the way into the 1980s with its charming shape barely changed. That Art Deco snub nose, welded steel body, and low drop frame floor made it instantly recognizable and perfectly suited to its job. Because the Divco was designed around one very specific task: stopping constantly. The clever part was that the milkman could actually drive it standing up. Divco offered a simplified control system, combining the clutch and brake into a single pedal with a hand throttle on the shift lever, so the driver could ease from house to house on his feet, hop out, make the delivery, and hop back in without ever really sitting down. For a route with hundreds of stops before dawn, that was genius. Over the years, Divco offered a variety of engines, from 4- and 6-cylinder Continentals to a Hercules 6, a small Detroit diesel, and later Ford 6s, and it added refrigeration as a factory option in 1954 to keep the milk cold. In 1956, the company also introduced a larger forward-control dividend series to chase the growing wholesale delivery business, and in 1957, Divco bought the Wayne Works school bus builder and briefly became Divco Wayne, but it was always that little snub-nosed multi-stop van that defined the brand. Dairies were the biggest customers by far, but bakeries and laundries too ran them, all putting the same tough, tireless truck to work. All told, Divco built roughly 50,000 of these trucks across its long life, and the last one wasn't produced until 1986. For a generation of kids, the sight of the Divco meant the milkman was coming. Glass bottles clinking in their metal cases, empties waiting on the porch to be collected, and on hot mornings, a chance to grab a handful of ice chips from the back of the truck. It was home delivery at its most personal, and the Divco was its rolling symbol. No truck was more a part of everyday American life, and none is more fondly remembered. The humble Divco milk truck is our undisputed number one. Which one takes you back? Did you chase the Divco milk truck as a kid, or ride shotgun in a farm-worn Chevy grain truck? Maybe your family business ran an Econoline or a Metro van. Tell me your story down in the comments, and let me know which forgotten workhorse from the good old days you'd like to see roll across the screen next.